This is the P.I.N.K Lifestyle Podcast. Rebranded, updated, and now based on the practice of mindfulness. It is my mission to guide and coach women toward a pink lifestyle. Purposeful, intentional, natural, and kind. We'll do this by discussing topics such as image and presence enrichment, integrative self-care, health and wellness, mindful thinking, and spiritual awareness. I am your host, Karen Bannister, and I am a certified image consultant and life coach. My opinions and insights are based on scientific research, personal experiences, and my own intuitive power, and will help your physical representation awaken and represent your inner strength and self-image. You can contact me on my website, KarenKBannister.com, or email pinklifestylepodcast@gmail.com. I invite you to follow and connect with me on social media channels as the P.I.N.K Lifestyle Podcast. This podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and others. Thank you for listening, and your journey toward finding your personal inner power begins now. Hello and welcome everyone back to the P.I.N.K Lifestyle Podcast. Now this episode features a very intriguing guest, one that I'm excited to get to know better, and I know you will too. So let me introduce you to Eminè Mehmet. She is an energy intuitive, sacred feminine leadership mentor, spiritual activist, and channel. And through her experience, suffering for years with a chronic condition, she found herself on a personal journey leading to a deeper connection and understanding of herself. And along the way, a clearer picture began to develop of what was really going on for us on a collective level. That was a cycle of fear-based, overgiving, overdoing, and overwhelm. I think we can all relate to that. Stopping us from connecting to our calm and our clarity and discovering our own sacred feminine power. And today she is leading women on a journey of conscious feminine connection to transform their lives by sharing divinely channeled wisdom and guidance. So welcome, Eminè. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. So, I would like to start this show with you telling us, about that personal journey, and including how what you've gone through and what you discovered about yourself led into creating a business out of it, and not just continuing on your personal journey for you to, share your gifts with everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So if we look at the timeline, really, the worst, well, I'll say the worst, right? But the worst part of it has been 3 years. However, the worst has been the best part of it, because this is really where I have discovered my own magic, and where I have been able to more and more tune into myself, find everything that I'm looking for within myself, despite whatever's going on outside in the world, right? Particularly now. And where I've found the joy of being able to share it with others as well, other women who have, I'm finding, been on or are on a similar journey. So for me, the intensity has been 3 years, but in all honesty, it's been a lifelong journey, which it is for most of us. I mean, really, we are our greatest journey, right? The journey to self is a lifelong journey. Starts from day one and ends at the end. So there's no real there are distinct times that you notice that are really important, like they're crisis points. They're actually crisis points. It's in those crisis points where you find that you have the biggest revelations, the biggest shifts, the biggest evolvement, right? I always say your evolution is your revolution, because finding yourself evolving more is when you get to liberate yourself, where you get to grow. So
Oh,
let me
I couldn't agree more. I can so relate to that. I'm sure a lot of others can. That makes such sense. Yes.
Yeah. So really for me, I mean, I was in the building industry for 25 or more years.
Oh,
I started
okay.
off, yeah, I started my journey as an interior designer, moved
Oh,
on to project management. And then about 7 years ago now, I got into the well building movement. I don't know if you heard of that. I know it's big in the US. It started in the US.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you have. Great.
yeah.
So it was about creating environments that support health and well-being. So I was actually one of the first in Australia to take it up.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and part of that journey was really to educate the industry. I had to go out and tell people, the industry, what it was all about, because no one really knew about it. So as I was doing this, what started to happen? So I've always had abilities, and I've known that. I've always had things, intuitive, messages, things that have come to me that have happened. So I've always known I've been like this. And what started to happen is that my vocabulary started to change. So I used to go out and talk a lot to a lot of people in the industry, and I used to hold events as well around the whole well building movement. And then my vocabulary started to change because I started to realize what was really going on, the impact of our environment, of the way we were living was having on us as human beings. And also then, of course, I started to go on my own journey of being unwell.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with mold in the
Oh,
apartment that I was, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So where I was staying, and it was a brand new apartment. So,
Gosh.
and I say it started, but actually it didn't. That was kind of like the trigger for it, for everything to start to happen internally, physically for me, because what we have what's called a toxic load. And once you hit that toxic load, then the body cannot
Right.
support you anymore. And that's where you start to get all these chronic conditions. And the toxic load is not just from environmental impacts. You know, we come into contact with chemicals every day. We put chemicals on our skin. Your skin is the largest organ of the body, and it absorbs everything into your bloodstream, into your cells. So the skin, but not just that, it's stress. It's
Mm-hmm.
stress and fear and anxiety that all contribute to this, what's called this toxic load in the body. And everyone's toxic load is different, so you can never say once you hit this point, that's it, because it's different for everyone. So you don't know. Then that's the beauty of us as human beings.
So we don't, and there's probably no way to figure that out ahead of time. It's like trial and error. Oops, that's my load. Is that?
Pretty much. I mean,
Oh, okay.
pretty much. And most people don't really know this, but you'll hit your crisis when you hit your crisis point, when things start to not work properly in the body. That's it. So I hit that, from a lifetime of working in the corporate world, of really not being who I truly was,
Mm-hmm.
trying to fit in and do the right thing by everyone around me, at work, etc., 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 and really doing what everyone is doing, which is to live outside of myself, always looking outside of myself for fulfillment, for happiness. If I have this car, I'll feel better. It'll be good. I'll feel better. I'll tick that off my list. If I have this, if I do that, I'll tick that off my list. Always looking for satisfaction outside of yourself. And that's the way we've been brought up in society. That's the way we've been programmed. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot find joy, and I use joy instead of happiness because I believe happiness is something that is temporary, created outside of yourself due to an experience, or getting that job or getting that car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's limited. Joy, finding joy and fulfillment is within yourself, and joy all the time. And it's not like you're on a high all the time. Of course, life is challenging every day, but you have a different viewpoint of what's going on for you what's going on outside of you, and you therefore deal with it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it has less impact on you, less emotional impact, less mental impact, less physical impact on you.
Right.
Because of this complete embodiment of self and connection to self. And as I say this to you, I feel so strong within myself. You know, that core strength, you know, there's this, I don't know in America, but, you know, core strength is so important to have core strength.
Core strength. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have core strength, and the core strength is my own self. Like I feel like I'm so strong and stable and secure and grounded.
And so many people yearn to feel that. They don't know how to get there. They don't know what they're missing. They just know something's wrong. So, okay, you've got it.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's possible, right? Because if I can do it, suffering for 3 years, like pain every day. I mean, I won't go into the details, misdiagnosed. Doctors can only diagnose the symptoms, you know, the most prominent symptoms. And often I find that they choose which symptoms they diagnose, right? Which symptoms they can put a name to. But whatever I was diagnosed with really wasn't what I had, and I knew that. And I had a lot of things going on. There were many, many things. But the only thing, I'm not going to say the only thing that shifted it. I'm going to say that it shifted with working on myself, shifting what was going on for me internally, mentally, emotionally. And that's the only thing that has really helped, being supported then with, I've got an amazing naturopath right now. He's the fourth one I've seen
Oh, wow.
on my journey, but he's an energy intuitive, and he and I just work so well together.
Oh, that's fab. Now, what did you, after going to these doctors and being misdiagnosed, what was the trigger for you, like you said, to start turning it inside and doing the internal work? What was the trigger for you to do that?
Yeah, so as I said, I've always been like this. So I've always done some sort of work on myself, but, you know, on a much different level than now. And, you know, I didn't think for a long time that it was anything that needed spiritual assessment, if you like, or diagnosis. But I had a traumatic experience that happened just before I got really sick, and that was a family thing, and took me really by surprise. You know, it wasn't my personal family member, it was an extended family member, and took me by surprise and scared the hell out of me, I gotta say. I was so scared. And I knew this person also did some, you know, was kind of into that spiritual stuff, and maybe wasn't the nicest, I'll say, wasn't, you know, didn't have my best interests at heart. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And so a friend of mine said to me, you know, after she saw me the way I was after that whole experience, she said to me, you know what? There's this woman I see, and I think you should go and see her. I think she will help you. I don't know if you're into spiritual stuff. And I went, yes, I am. So this is the other important thing that I've noticed, particularly now, is people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about how that they're into this stuff, right?
Right.
So I said, yes, I am. And she goes, go and see this woman. So I went to this woman, and what I discovered with this woman was that as we worked together, was that basically I was doing my own work and she was kind of facilitating it. So I would tell her exactly what was going on. And so from there, you know, things started to expand and grow for me. And it's taken me a long time to let go of that whole experience. But what I've discovered is that if you are strong within yourself, you are fearless, and no one can do anything to you, because fear is an energy that only exists when you create it. When you don't create it, it doesn't exist, right?
That nugget right there, that's beautiful. That I wish everybody should have that painted on their wall. I mean, that's so true. And you said it so eloquently and succinctly. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's true. And I'm not going to say it's easy to get to that
No.
point of understanding, because it's not. It's not easy, but it's possible if you are willing, if you are committed. You have to be committed to yourself. This work takes commitment because it requires you to face everything about yourself and everything about your life, right? Not all at once. And it depends how much you want to do. So you have free will about how much do I want to do? Where do I want to go with this? You might only want to do a little bit. But important thing to know is, as I've said before earlier, that we do this work from the moment we're born till the moment we die. Whether we do it consciously or unconsciously is up to us.
Right.
And if you do it on a conscious level, you have more awareness, and then that is when you can navigate through life challenges without having it impact you so dramatically and so overwhelmingly that you can't cope, and that it causes stress and anxiety and fear and all of that stuff. If you do it with awareness, you can just navigate through that. Yes, you still feel that stuff, but you know what's going on, and you have the tools to release, let go, and wave it goodbye on its way and keep moving forward. And at the same time, grow stronger within yourself.
Right. But you're right. The subconscious, consciously, it's more powerful when you do it on a conscious level and you make it purposeful and intentional, and you're aware of it. Like I said, awareness. It's so much more. I don't want to say, well, maybe effective. I mean, it has such better influence over your life, positive influence over your life when you're doing it consciously. And I wish more people would realize that. But like you said, it does take work. It does take
work.
And that can be scary.
It can be scary. Hey, it is. But that's why you should get support. I have support. I've had so much support, and I still get support when I have those times where I can't get out of what I know is going on. I can share something if you want. Recently,
you're willing to, absolutely. I'm sure whatever you have to say would help somebody, but yes, please.
Okay, so a few months ago, probably 3 or 4 months ago, I all of a sudden started to experience intense anxiety like I'd never experienced before in my life. I would not sleep. I could not go to sleep. I was so afraid of closing my eyes and sleeping. I could not lie down to go to sleep. I spent 2 nights in a recliner, so I was sitting up, fighting sleep with all my will because I was so afraid.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was so unusual for me. And I knew what was going on. I was moving up a level in my involvement. And what was happening was that I was afraid of that next level. And what came up really was, this was a past life thing where in my past lives, I have been either murdered or attacked or whatever it has been for my abilities. And so my feeling was that if I moved up to this level, I would die, right?
Wow. Yeah. No, I can relate. Yes.
Yeah. So I would not sleep. And then after 2 nights I had to, because my body just gave up and had to sleep. But I was still sitting up, like I would not lie down to sleep.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And it went on like that for a while. Eventually I could lie down, but I would not sleep. Like every few hours I'd wake up and I'd have to have a light on. It was all like this, like I was a 5-year-old, right? And so I knew I needed help, because I did my own work, but I could not shift myself out of it.
Right.
And so I got help. So I had some sessions myself with this beautiful woman, and she really helped me through it. And so now I'm fine. And that was what was going on. So I cleared what was that past life, that fear, and then that was it. So it's not always about past lives. So for me, a lot has been coming up this year about past life stuff and ancestral stuff, because we know in our DNA we carry genes, right, from our ancestors, and that carries memory with it as well. So I've been doing ancestral stuff, a lot of past life stuff, and this life stuff. So, it just depends I believe that when you first start, you just do this life stuff because you're not ready for anything else, really. And then if you want to go deeper, well, then that's when all the other interesting stuff happens.
I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's a bit. Yes, I've been down that road myself. Well, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with us on that story. Thank you. I'm sure that helps others. I mean, see that even us as coaches, we have our own coaches, we have our own, but that's how we know how to help others because we've dealt with it ourselves.
Exactly.
And come through it, and you're stronger, and so you know how to work with it. Because I mean, it, like you probably know, it's it doesn't go away. Like you said, you just have to work through it. So you fully understand exactly what's going on. So thank you again for your vulnerability. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And that's kind of how I didn't really plan to do this work. Last year, I was still consulting in the building industry until the end of last year. I was still consulting. And I did, in the middle of the year, I did decide this is what I wanted to do. And I started mid last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really evolved since then as I myself have evolved as well. It's become a lot deeper work, a lot more fulfilling for me. I see a lot more transformation very quickly with my clients, which is so exciting. And I just love watching them grow. And for me, it's about enabling them, giving them the tools and the techniques they need to navigate through any challenge in their life, right? Because I'm not always going to be there always holding their hands, right?
Right.
So you got to learn this stuff we don't get taught, and it's so important. It's like when they're only just starting, I believe now in Australia, to teach kids about finances, which would have been so helpful for me growing up, right? But they don't teach that stuff. And it's the same now. This work is going to be so important. This year it has become more important. And as we move forward over the next few years, it will become more important, and more people will be searching. They've started this year and they will be searching. And so as we move through this very new world with so many changes, it will become more and more relevant to connect to yourself, to be yourself, to know who you are, know what's right, not know what's wrong for you, to have strong boundaries,
right?
To be able to see the truth in situations and not believe, because for so long we've just gone with what we've been told, right?
Oh, that is so true. It's not really, I mean, same here in the States. I mean, people do talk about it, but it's almost, I say not accepted, but it's just not talked about enough. Not enough people are being exposed to it to fully understand it and appreciate it and to accept it into their lives. It's, they're very, not to say closed-minded, but just, they want to look at the black and white. They want to look at, the corporate world, and I have my career and on I go, and this is the way life is. So like you, I mean, it does need to be spoken about more. It does need to be taught more openly and spoken about, so we're all comfortable talking about it, and it's more of just a normal part of our lives, because it truly is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and a lot of that is about fear of change, and people are afraid they'll lose what they have, so they try and hold on and ignore what's going on. And I find that and I find on LinkedIn, for instance, I mean, it's all that facade on LinkedIn. It's all about the facade. It's not about what's really going on for people. People pretend they're all good. They're selling their services, blah, 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 blah. And I think I've got about 3 or 4 clients right now from the building industry that would probably not have come to me like this in this format if I hadn't have said this is who I am. And it took me a long time to change my profile on LinkedIn. I only just did it maybe 3 months ago or 2 months ago or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It took me a long time to say who I was and what I was doing, you know, because everyone on there knows me as, you know, this person who was an interior designer, did this, did that, and they're my connections. But now I'm not doing that. I'm doing something else, and I think it's much more important. Of course, I think that it's important to create environments that support health and well-being. That's really important. But the human being, you can, what I always said about that is that, sure, you can create these, you know, non-toxic, fabulous environments that look great and make people feel good, but if people themselves don't participate or do the work, then there's no change, no support for them. It doesn't help them. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So, for instance, the wellness programs, which are very popular in workplaces, I mean, the rate of uptake is really low because it doesn't suit everyone, because not everyone can or wants to, or they're afraid, or whatever it is, they're holding back from participating. So it's about empowering the individual, and the only way the individual can be empowered is to be willing themselves to do the work. And this is the conundrum, right? Because the fear we are stuck in, the fear, because we have a primal brain that's 2,000 years old, stuck in the same program. I mean, how often do you update your computer or your software? I mean, with your phone, you update it every 3 months. I don't know how many times I update my phone software. Right. But we still have the same software running, because, you know, in the brain you create the same neurological pathways that it always goes on unless you change it. So it's time to upgrade the brain. The brain knows to go in fear, flight, fight mode. What happens? The body changes. The body starts to slow down internally. Your digestive system slows down. All these things happen in the body, but you don't want it to happen. This is also what creates chronic illness, because the body stops functioning properly because it's in this flight, fight mode. Every time you go in stress, that's what happens. You hold your breath, so there's no blood, there's no oxygen flowing in through the body, through your brain. You know, it's difficult to make decisions. You know, when you go, oh my God, I can't think, I'm confused, you know, you're not breathing, and so no oxygen in the brain, can't make decisions. You know, it's just a whole flow-on effect. So it's possible, I'm telling you, it's very possible to reprogram the brain, to upgrade the brain. If you're ready for an upgrade, this is what it is. It's an upgrade.
I like that analogy. It's like, I hopefully simplifies it for some people. That's great. I know, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's fun.
Wow.
It's fun, and it's true. It's true. We are so amazing. Our bodies are so amazing, but we don't know enough about it. We don't know, you know, how they work, and it's different for everyone as well. As I said before, we're all different, and it's really important to tune in and know what's going on for you, and to trust it. That's the other thing. Lack of trust of self. Lack of trust.
Oh, that's huge. Right there.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, lack of trust can lead to yourself, where you start to listen to others or look outside of yourself again for the answers to things, to problems, to whatever it is. Lack of trust, and then afterwards you go, oh my God, you know, I wish I had listened to myself. I knew that, and I didn't listen. How many times do we say that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Right? It's like, oh man, hindsight's 2020. If only, how many? All the time.
All the time.
And what if you could eliminate that? At least
easy,
a little bit, right?
Just trust it. Yeah, trust it, because that's the truth. And you've proved it's your truth, because afterwards you go, oh my God, I wish I'd listened to myself. Right? It's your truth. That is the whole thing. This is the whole work we're doing, the whole connection of your truth and the trust and the belief and the faith, so much faith. And the more work you do like this, if anyone is, you know, religious or anything, the more connection you have, to God, the more open and the more connected you are, because you're not shut down. You're not shut down in fear. You're not shut down in confinement of people telling you how it should be, what you should do. No, 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 no. Or each one of us has our own special connection, and that is perfectly fine. And we just have to trust it and believe ourselves. That's all. That's all.
No, it's fabulous. So you've done, I mean, you've clearly done all this work, and you trust yourself and you know yourself. So now you start this business because you want to share your knowledge and you want to help other people, which is fabulous. So what's your coaching process? Do you have a program? Do you individualize it per person and their needs, or how did you design your company, basically?
Yeah, so I have a group online program for women.
Okay.
So it's called Shine Your Light, and it's all about giving you the tools and the techniques to enable you to navigate through those life challenges. It's all about reconnecting you to yourself, increasing your awareness, building your confidence, finding your calm, finding your clarity, and to be able to really step forward and be who you are without fear, without any fear at all, and with great love and joy, because that is who we are, love and joy. So it's about that. That's an 8-week online group program, and there are 8 online modules and then 8 live classes via Zoom with me just to do the work to clear, release whatever's going on for you. And I also have one-on-one group programs as well. So for those who prefer to have more of a private mentoring session with me. So that's how I work.
Wow, very, very, very powerful. Okay, so an 8-week, you said? 8-week program?
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. So so you started the business, what do you say, just over a year ago, year and a half ago?
Yeah, a year and a half ago. So I always say the business started me. I didn't start the business. I love
that. Right.
Started me, because what happened was so the business was still about, kind of more well-being stuff, about what's going on for us. And then one day on my Facebook group, I decided to do a Q&A, and I got all these questions from these gorgeous women. And I thought to myself, now I can answer these questions the same way any other well-being coach or wellness coach will answer them, and give them kind of a generic response, right? Which will help them, definitely. Or I can do something even better. I can use the abilities I know that I have and really help them on an individual level to create a change in their lives. So they were my choices, and I was scared to death, right? To reveal myself, revealing myself. But I did it, and everything I said was correct and really helped people, and that's how it started into evolving into where it is now.
Oh my gosh! I think more people maybe not as many people realize that's how a lot of businesses start. They kind of start themselves. They just kind of evolve. You don't just sit down. You don't just wake up one day, I'm going to start a business. These things evolve, and you need to, if you're out there and if you're feeling something and you're like, well, gosh, I'm still not sure. I mean, here's again more proof that these things build and they grow themselves, and you just need to listen to it. And like she says, trust yourself. I mean, just believe in yourself and trust yourself.
And the other thing I would say,
you need help.
Yeah, absolutely. Get support. We can do it by ourselves, sure. But it's a lot harder to do it by yourself than to do it with support by someone who knows, right? By a professional. Right. So the other thing I want to do about that, I want to say about starting your own business, is to have patience, and have patience with yourself. And be compassionate with yourself, because you're going to make mistakes, and some things will work and other things won't. And that's the only way you're going to learn and really eventually find the sweet spot, that is who you are, where everything will fall into place. And because we're in this masculine society, and I'm not knocking men, I love men, right? So with the rise of the feminine, we bring the masculine with us, right? So but we've been living in this masculine dominated society, and so from the masculine's state of being is always in the doing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be doing all the time, forcing, trying to make things happen and pulling your hair out. And if you can learn to go with your own flow, trusting yourself, go with your intuition, knowing what's right and what's wrong to do and not do and when to do it, and be okay with that. I mean, that is the kindest, most compassionate thing you could do for yourself starting a new business, is to take that pressure off where I have to do this, I have to do that, and just go with your own flow and trust. And it takes time. You might have success straight away, great, and you might not. It might be 6 months or a year or whatever. But keep going and just build that confidence within yourself, that calm, that flow, that clarity, and love it. Love yourself, love your work, love what you're doing.
I will be honest, I needed to hear that right now, probably most of all.
Oh,
I'm at a state, I'm going to be changing part of my business, whatever, but that's what you just said. Personally, I'm going to say thank you, because I really needed to hear that to remind myself. So thank you.
You're welcome.
On behalf of everybody else, but personally, thank you. Oh my gosh. So what's coming up next for you? Is there anything you can share with the listeners and myself on what's coming up, or?
So I've got this program.
Mm-hmm.
My long-term plan is to have, I think there'll be 4 programs. Each one will be at a higher level, and the last one will be like for women who really want to do the juicy work, with me, really step into themselves. I'm hoping that one day I can have some retreats, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I love doing face-to-face live events, because I mentioned that I used to do events for the industry. Yeah. I've always done stuff like that. So I love being in a live arena. So I would like to do some live stuff as well. So that's how I see it. I just see this explosion. So how it's showing to me now, it's like out of my crown chakra, like when you light a spark line, or the golden.
I do.
See this flare just coming out of my head like that of reaching, of all these women who will be connected to themselves, who will love themselves, who will be full of joy and heart, love what they're doing. And the most important thing is that when a woman is in her power, she spreads it to her community. That is the biggest role as women that we have. We build community.
Oh,
and that's what's happening, and that's what will continue to happen.
Oh, that's amazing. So the work you're doing now is, of course, amazing, but so many wonderful plans to help even more people and exciting things. And I just know it's all going to work out for you. And everybody listening, I know they're going to want to talk to you too. They're going to want to keep in touch with you. So where do people find you? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I would love to hear from them. So the easiest way is on my website, because from there you can join my Facebook group. You can have a look at my programs. If you'd like to have a chat with me about working with me, you can book in a call. So my website is eminèmehmet.com. I know that's hard to it's probably not hard to remember, but maybe hard to spell. But if you have a look, you can see how the spelling of my name. And you can find me there and connect with me there. And yes, I would absolutely love to hear from you, love to support you, on your journey. It's very exciting journey, very exciting times.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Everybody listening, I will have all the links and all the information in the show notes and on the social media, so you will be able to reach her very, very easily, because I'm gonna link up. I'm gonna tag or click all your links, because I definitely want to keep in touch. I want to definitely follow you everywhere I can, because personally, this conversation was very well timed for me. So I'm sure it's very well timed for a lot of other people. So again, thank you so much for coming on my podcast, the Pink Lifestyle Podcast, bringing your joy and your love and your energy and sharing that with everybody here. I truly appreciate it. I felt it through the screen. I felt it through your voice. So I'm sure others have too. I mean, how can you not? I mean, my gosh. So again, thank you for being here on the podcast and sharing yourself, and get in touch with her and follow her, everybody. And again, thank you. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the P.I.N.K Lifestyle Podcast. Again, you can reach me on my website, KarenKBannister.com, or email pinklifestylepodcast@gmail.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and others, and on social channels including Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest as P.I.N.K Lifestyle Podcast. Congratulations on starting your journey. Please share this with your friends and family, and focus on creating your own P.I.N.K life. Until next time.